Welcome, everybody. It's week 3 and unit 3 is starting. I'm going to share my screen here in a second, but I want to reach out. If you had a 0 or any low grade, really, that if you had a 0 on your unit 1 writing assignment, it is imperative that you check my feedback and go ahead and resubmit. Or if you didn't submit at all, of course, that needs to be done ASAP. We're entering week 3, so any of that work from week 1 absolutely needs to be done, yesterday, if not sooner. Unit 2, of course, I haven't had a chance to look at the paragraphs from Unit 2, but the same thing's going to apply. If you see that you get a grade and it's low or 0, but you know that you turned something in, you need to check that feedback immediately and reach out to me with any questions about resubmission. If you wanted to resubmit an assignment that I haven't asked you to resubmit, you do have to let me know and talk to me about it, because the writing assignments are one chance only unless I manually go in and create a new attempt. So, but if I have given you a 0, then I have also asked you to redo it. So please, please, please let me know if you have questions about it. But I want you to double check. Okay. So that's a good update. Let's go ahead and share. And this is what this announcement was about. So please go ahead and check your feedback for Unit 1 descriptive paragraph assignments once you've looked at the feedback in the rubric. If you have further questions, feel free to email me, but just like really for sure, make sure you check it. The other thing, of course, is that we are entering more research territory, and I did post a tool that's going to be helpful to you in terms of navigating how to find information and things of that nature. I am going to pause for one moment because my dog is ripping something up. Sorry about that. When you can hear paper ripping on the other side of the computer screen, you have to get up and take a look and see what's happening. I don't know. They're in destructive moods this morning. Anyway, so this extra video will help with just navigating research and things like that. So make sure you're also always checking the announcements. It is really important to keep up with what's going on. And of course, these particular announcements, the weekly walkthroughs, will help you get all the stuff right for the assignments. So anyway, we are, though, entering Unit 3, so we're going to be learning about and talking about thesis statements, plagiarism, and citing sources. So we're going to continue to work on citation. It is not the easiest thing. It is actually probably the hardest thing that we do in English classes, but it is not only for your English classes. The main reason colleges and universities require you to take a course like ENG110 is that you're going to be writing research papers for other types of classes, and your instructors in those classes, knowing that you have completed ENG110, are going to assume that you know how to create APA papers, write your sources correctly, cite your sources correctly, without a lot of extra help. So that's why it's important to get those lessons during this course. And I am here to help you with it, but you also want to make sure that you're doing all the work, because that's where you're learning about the things that you're going to need to know. So this week, you have a new set, of course, of readings and resources. One set on developing a thesis statement that includes an activity, and a second set on how to avoid plagiarism and self-plagiarism. This is one that came up a little bit in Unit 1, and this is something that I know that it's told to you in other classes, but sometimes those things, when a class ends, it slips out the back of our heads. But at post university in particular, you are not allowed to use an assignment that you've already used in a class. So if you have to retake a class, or if you have a new class that a paper from your old class might quote unquote work for, you can't use it. So technically it is not plagiarism in the traditional sense, but using your own work from a different class is considered plagiarism here at Post. So this is a great learning tool to figure those kinds of things out. And of course in unit 1, because a lot of people I know forget that, if this is a retake for you and you did have something that you had turned in before, that's one of those reasons when I would have just asked you to redo it. So it's not, nobody's in trouble, but it's one of those things that we have to get used to and have to get you guys working on. So there's a couple of activities, 3 activities to do, plus a few reading assignments, most of which are pretty short. This one is a 10-pager, but most of them are pretty short. So those are your readings and resources for this week. And again, I'm going to stress, you have to do these before you attempt the assignments. The phrase I like to use is learn before you earn. If you don't do the learning, then you're not going to earn the points. It's just kind of the way that it works. So make sure you do go through all of the readings and resources on Mondays and Tuesdays during the week. And then that way you'll be prepared to do your first assignment, which of course is always the discussion board that's due on Wednesday night. So keep that kind of cycle in mind and you're going to be in good shape. So speaking of the assignments for Unit 3, you have, as usual, 2 assignments, but you do not have a writing assignment this week. Instead of a writing assignment, you will have what's called a knowledge check, which is just a really nice way of saying a test. The plus side, though, of these tests is you can do them more than once. So you can, if you're not happy with your first score, you can take it again. There are 10 questions. There are always 10. There's always multiple choice and true false questions. So it's a right or wrong type situation. And as it says, like I said, you can actually take it more than once, but do the readings first, take the knowledge check. I promise you that is the right order of business for anything related to college. So then your discussion board this week is all about plagiarism. And the resources, of course, in this particular unit have focused on how to cite the information. We really went over that in Unit 2 in depth. When you use a source in your writing, you have to make sure you cite it or you run the risk of plagiarizing. And of course, then the question becomes, why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal. So let's consider a scenario. And this is an interesting one because we often think of plagiarism as only occurring at school, but that is not always the case. If you think about some music situations, there have been major plagiarism cases in the courts in the last few years. So it's a real thing that happens outside of school as well. So that's what we're looking at for your discussion board. Consider this following scenario. You have been working for a fairly well-established investment firm for the last 4 months. You and a coworker were both assigned to write a report on the same startup business to determine if you should invest in it. Your coworker asked to see your report to verify some data. The next day, you and your coworker hand in the exact same report. So you're going to answer these questions. How would you feel in that situation? How would you deal with that kind of plagiarism situation in the workplace? And then, of course, what action should the boss take? So in your responses to others, consider what other possible scenarios of plagiarism might come up in the workplace. How important do you think plagiarism is in the workplace? As usual, your initial post is due Wednesday night, and then you have 2 follow-ups by the following Sunday at the end of Unit 3. You can check out the discussion board rubric here. And then, of course, as I've said before, once a grade pops up in your grade book, you can click on the name of the assignment and get all of my feedback. Plus, you can check the rubric at that point as well. All right, so you'll be looking for feedback on the Unit 2 work over the next few days. Typically, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but typically they ask for all instructors to have the discussion boards graded by Wednesdays, and then we technically have until Friday to give you grades and feedback on those writing assignments. Now, I usually try to get them done a lot faster than that. So, but that's kind of the guideline that they give your instructors. So look for that feedback. As soon as you get a grade, you can click on it and find out how you did or why you did how you did. Let's use the whole sentence there. Anyway, that's it for this week. Please reach out if you have questions or problems, and especially if you have some work that you haven't turned in. Excuse me, that you have some work that you haven't turned in or that you need to make up because of issues from Unit 1. And that's it. I'm here. Let me know if you have questions, and I will see you next Monday for the live portion. But I'll be available all week. So let me know if you need anything. Everybody take care and have a great week.